All right, Quentin, go ahead and read. Oh, this is week 6, Sunday, and we are going over lesson 8, 9 on fractions. Go ahead and read, Quentin. Go read. Go. Read, Quentin.
The fencing that completely surrounds the forecast will go this square yard of grass lot that covers the entire pond costs $8. What is the total cost of the fencing?
Okay, so then remember it says what is the total cost of fencing? Fencing is the first part that you have to do, and then the sod. So you're dealing with two different things. What does a fencing mean? Fencing means you see the lines right here, you add them together. That's called the what? Perimeter, right? And the perimeter is going to be 2 length plus 2w, because remember this is the, or 2 length plus 2 width. Remember this is the width, this is the width, this is a length, this is a length, okay? Now the sod, which covers the entire park, what is that dealing with? The sod right here is the area. Do you see that? The area is length times width. So what do you have to do then? So let's first, there's two parts to the question. First part is the fencing, second part is the sod. So first part, let's do the perimeter. What's the perimeter? 2L, 2 times 25.5 plus 2W, so 2 times 8 and 1/4. So multiply that out. So then when you do this, it's gonna be 50, and then this will be 2 times 1 is 2. So technically this will be actually 51. 51. 16 and 2/4. Is that what you have? Two times 25 is 50. Do you see that? 2 times 2, 1 is 2, 2 over 2, 1, 2 is going to be a 1. So 50 plus the 1 is going to give you 51. Do you see that? So then what we need to do is we need to find a common denominator. The common denominator here, stop please. Let's change everything from a mixed fraction to an improper fraction. 16 times 4 plus 2 is going to give you 66 over 4. This is a 51 over 1. If I want this to be a 4, what would I have to do with the 51?
Why is the bottom?
Because it's 51. 51 over 1 is 51. We need to find common denominator. What's 51 times 4? So we have 270 over 4. That is the perimeter, okay? So now, you know that the perimeter is this, and it says that the fencing is going to cost $12 a yard, okay? You need to pay attention. $12 a yard. So I'm going to have 270 over 4 times 12. I need you to multiply that, please. You're not paying attention. I'm not re-explaining this for you again. You can watch the video afterwards. Go ahead and multiply it out. You need to multiply it out. Multiply it out, please. What is that going to give me? This is the cost of the perimeter. Do you see how with this 12 and the 4 right here, you can actually cancel it out? So that becomes a 3. So 270 times 3 is 810. So it's the perimeter is going to cost you $810, okay? That's only one part of this. The other part is you need to find the area because we need to cover that area with grass. So the fencing is going to cost $810. Now, the area, which is going to give you the sod, which is the grass, sod, area is going to be length times width. What is your length again? What are the two numbers you're going to multiply together? Your length is going to be 25 and 1/2. Your width is going to be 8 and 1/4. So multiply that out. What's their area? What's your answer once you multiply it? Okay. Okay, so 25 times 8 is going to give me a 201/8. Actually, I don't like the way that's multiplied. I like to move everything from from a proper fraction to improper fraction. 25 times 2 is 50, 51/2. 8 times 4 is 32, plus 1, 33/4. So then if I go ahead and multiply this, 51 times 33 is going to give me 1683/8. No more eating, please. And if I divide that 1683 divided by 8, that is going to give me 210, or actually we'll just leave it like that. Now remember, if this is your area, remember to cover the entire park, it's gonna be $8. So take this and times $8. Do you see how this part you have the 8 on top and the 8 on bottom? Do you see that? You can cancel that out. So what's left? $1,683. This is how much it's gonna cost to cover the park. Do you see that? Okay. So the fence is going to be $810. The grass to cover the park is $1,680. Do you see that? Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next part. Okay, let's take a look at this part right here. Okay, I need you to read this question, please.
The entire floor of the family room and kitchen tile cost $12 per square foot. What is the total cost of tiling the family room and the kitchen?
Okay, so Gwen is planning to tile the entire floor of her family room and kitchen. So here's the family room, here's the kitchen. The cost is $12 per square foot. What is the total cost of everything, right? Well, if they're gonna be tiling this, are you looking at area or perimeter?
We're looking at.
She wants to cover the family room right here in green, and then cover the kitchen in yellow. So are you looking at perimeter or area? Huh? This is area. Okay, perimeter is like if you're building a fence around the room. Okay, so this is area. How do you find the area of the family room? You multiply these two together, right? Which one is the length? Which one is length? Which one's length? Length is always gonna be the bigger number. Width is gonna be here. So length is 17 1/3 times the width, which is 13 1/2. I want you to multiply that out, please. Multiply that out because the area is just length times width. Area is length times width. Now multiply it out. How do you multiply this? What are you doing? So how would you normally multiply a mixed fraction? How would you do that?
I would do 7 1/3 and turn that.
Into a proper fraction?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which would give me 51. And wait.
Now, before you multiply through, do you see how the 27 and 3 right there? What can you reduce that down to? What's 27 divided by 3?
7 divided by 3 is 9.
9 and 1. What about 52 and 2? What can you reduce that down to?
Divided by 2.
What's 52 divided by 2? 26 times 9 is? 234. That is your area. 234 what? 234 feet square. That's just for the family room, right? But now you gotta find the area of the kitchen. Okay, so let's take a look at the kitchen. So area of the kitchen, K for kitchen, is going to be, which one's the length here?
12.
12 is the length, which one's the width? Yeah, so let's go ahead and do that. So area is length, 12, times width, which is 10 3/4. Now multiply that out. So this is 12 over 1 times 43 over 4. Now, look at the 12 and the 4. What can I reduce that down to?
What are the 12
3 and 1, right? So then 3 times 43, do you see how I just do this on the side, is 129 feet. So then what are you gonna do with the kitchen and the, what are you gonna do with the kitchen and the family room? You're gonna find it together, right? So here's the area of the kitchen plus the family room, which is gonna be 234 plus 129. So what's the total area?
363
feet, right? Now you gotta go back to the question. It costs $12 per square foot. Okay, so you gotta do that times 12. So when you multiply this by 12, what are you gonna get?
I'm gonna get Oh, wait. 3, 6, 3, 12 times. I'm not doing
So 363 times 12.
The 4,356.
6, 5,
45.
$4,353. That's a lot of money, right? But that's how much it's gonna cost to replace all the flooring in the family room and the kitchen. Okay. All right, let's go on to the next question. You're doing a really good job, Quentin. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. This is your second and last question, okay? All right, go ahead and read. And then figure out how you will want to start this. Okay, it says a website has a daily trivia contest. On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, you have 1.5 hours to submit an answer. On Tuesday, Thursdays, you have 1.25 hour. On Saturday, Sunday, you have 3/4 of an hour. You know that 1/4 equals what in decimals? But 1/4 equals what in decimals? 0.25, right? Because that's a quarter. And then how many minutes is that? It'll be 15 minutes. 15 minutes, okay? If it's 3/4, what is that in decimals? 0.75. How many minutes would that be? 45 minutes, okay? All right, so then with that said, let's go ahead and take a look. This is estimate the total hours each week you will have to submit an answer, write an equation, and show your work. How would you do that? Okay, so what we're gonna do is estimate total hours. So we're gonna put total hours equals, remember you're gonna do Monday, right? So Monday, Wednesday plus Friday plus. Now Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, it's 1.5 hours, right? So 1.5 plus 1.5 plus 1.5, right? But then you also have to add everything from the next one is Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesday plus Thursday, you have 1.25, right? But then we also have Saturday and Sundays, which is only 3/4, right? Do you see how there's a lot of writing with this one? Yeah, so another way that we can do this is let's go ahead and do it this way. We could do total hours equals Monday, Wednesday, Friday. There are 3. 3 times 1.5, right? Tuesdays and Thursdays, 2 times 1.25. Saturday, 2 times 3/4. So you go ahead and multiply that out and let me know what you get. All right, so then looking at this right here, let's rewrite this. Okay, so I have 3 times 3/2 plus 2 times 5/4 plus 2 to, well, that's just 3/4, right? So then once I have that, let's go ahead and multiply it out. So 3 times 3 is 9/2, 10/4, 6/4, right? What's your lowest common denominator? So everything in the second part and third part stays the same. So then this becomes 18/4, right? Let's add everything. 18 plus 10 is 28. 28 plus 6. 28 is going to be 34/4. I can reduce this, which then becomes, like both of these can be divided by 2, right? So that'll give me a 17. So 17 over 2 is your total hours. This is part A. Number 1. Part 2 says write an equation using multiplication variable to represent the problem, then solve the equation and answer the question. So how many hours each week do you have to submit an answer? Your total answer is 17 over 2 hours. But we want 17 divided by 2. We actually want how many hours, right? 17 over 2. So what's 17 divided by 2? Divide it, please. 8.5. It's gonna be 8 1 over 2 hours. So 8 hours and how many minutes? 1/2 of an hour is how many minutes? Okay, what's half of 60 minutes? That's your answer. Okay, we have one more question and then we're done. Okay, so we're gonna have you do this one right here. Go ahead and take a look at this one. All right, Quentin, go ahead and read. Read, please.
Christine hiked the every trail and yellow river trail once. Brian hiked each of the 3 longest trails once. How many more miles did Brian hike and Christine?
Who hiked more? Who hiked more?
Brian.
Brian did, okay? So Brian hiked each of the longest trail once. Christine hiked the Evergreen Trail, so Evergreen is right here. Twice, she did that 2 times. And the Yellow River once, right? So what I want you to do is, can you tell me how many miles did Christine hike? How would you write that out?
What you want to do is 43 points times 1 and like 5 more.
So she did Evergreen twice, so 2 times 4 3/4 plus what? 1 times 5 1/4. Okay, that will give you Christine. Now you do that. Stop eating. Let's go. Now you have to do Brian. When you're done with Christine, let's do Brian. Brian hiked each of the longest 3 trails. Which one are the longest? Yep. Okay, so his is gonna be 4 3/4 plus 6 plus 5 1/4 equals. I want you to go ahead and write that out, please. Add them together. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at Christine. For Christine, we're gonna change this one. 4 times 4 is 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 over 4. So then when you go ahead and multiply the 2, that's 38 over 4. This will be 21 over 4, so plus 21 over 4. They have the common denominator, so when you add them together, what do you get? How many miles did Christine walk?
10 miles.
I'm sorry, what?
10.
No. Go ahead and add it, please.
I don't get my
You're adding them together. Just add it together for Christine.
The last one you reduced, right? I know you didn't reduce, right? But for this one, you do reduce.
Okay, now what I want you to do is find the total for Brian. What's the total for Brian? Total for Brian. What's your lowest common denominator? Is 4, right? So what's your total for Brian? What'd you get for Brian? How many miles did he ride or did he walk?
And 4.
Yeah, which is what? Stop eating the chips, please.
And yeah.
Yeah. So then the question says, how many more miles did Brian hike than Christine? Then what are you gonna do with the two numbers? Yeah, we're gonna subtract it. So how many more miles? So we're gonna do Brian comes first, 16 minus, because that's more, right? 59 over 4. You put a 1 underneath it, so what's your lowest common denominator? Well, because I know that Brian walked more, so 16 is first. So what's your lowest common denominator? Okay, so what's 16 times 4? No.
No, it's 16 times 4. Oh. That is easy. I totally didn't get that wrong in the first place. 60.
So how many more miles did Brian walk more than Christine?
1 and
Which is what? 1.25. Good job. You did a good job. These are really hard questions, Quentin. You did a good job. All right. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop and I'm going to have you go ahead and I want you to watch the video one more time and do this on your own.